All right, now that you have finished taking your photos for Aperture Priority, what you're going to do next is make sure to upload them to your original photos folder. So make sure to put your SD card on the left-hand side in your laptop, and all you have to do is open up your folder to drag and drop them into your Google Drive. So I already have my photos downloaded in my Google Drive, Module 2, Original Photos. The next thing we're going to do is make sure to put them onto our computer in a Lightroom folder. So there's a couple of options. You can right-click and download each photo, or you can select them all and download them all at once and extract the files that are in a zip folder. Since I don't have a whole lot of photos to download, I'm going to go ahead and download each one of them. And it should show down on the bottom left corner here that they're downloaded. So once that's completed, you're going to minimize your window. You're going to go to your recycle bin. And we're going to go ahead and go to our downloads folder and look for our images. If you don't see them, you can always click on the View tab and go to large icons, so you'll be able to view them. Sometimes it'll just say CR2, and that'll be the raw file of the photos that you took on the cameras. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select my photos that I'm going to use for editing. I'm just going to click on this white space here and drag over my pictures that I'm selecting. I'm going to go to Home and Move To. And then at the bottom here, I'm going to go to Choose Location. I'm going to my documents. I should already have a folder. Now, if you don't have a Lightroom folder here, what you can do is make a new one. So I'll just go ahead and make a new one for those of you who don't have it. You can also save your photos in your OneDrive just in case. So those of you who had to switch to a new laptop, I recommend you saving it to your OneDrive. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight this folder and click on Move. Okay, so now these photos, if I check my documents and I go to the Lightroom folder that I just created, and now I can find my pictures in there. So I'll go ahead and close this out. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and go to Lightroom. So on your desktop, just double click on the Lightroom icon. And for our next set of photos, we are going to create a new catalog. So in the upper left corner under File, I'm going to go to New Catalog. And we're going to go ahead and choose the Lightroom folder that we have created in our documents. Go ahead and double click that. So in this folder is where we're going to have our new catalog. Just make sure not to click anything else in the folder. Just make sure it's open so you can put your folder in there, or your catalog in there. And we're going to go ahead and title it Exposure with your last name at the end of it. And click Create. So it'll close it out and open up the new catalog. Now, once your new catalog has opened, make sure in the upper right corner you're in the library module, because this is where we're going to go ahead and import our photos. Once you have clicked on the library module, you're going to go to the bottom left here, click on Import. Now, if you don't see your Lightroom folder on the left-hand side here, what you can also do is go to Select a Source. So when you select a source, just make sure to go to Other Source. But I do happen to see my folder here, so I'm going to go to my documents, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my Lightroom folder. Notice I have all of my photos in here, and they're already checked off. If you have multiple photos in this folder, just go ahead and click on the All photos, check off that box and then just check the items that you need. But since mine is only the photos that I just took, I'm going to go ahead and click on all photos because I only need 6 photos for my assignment. And then once that's done, you're going to go to the bottom right corner, click on import. And now it has imported all of your photos. For editing, what we're going to do is go to the develop module. And the only edits I'm going to have you focus on are the basic enhancements on the right-hand side to optimize your photos. So for example, let's say I want to brighten up my photo a little bit. I'll go ahead and go to exposure and bring up the exposure just a tad. Contrast, maybe I want to slightly show some contrast between the object and the background. Highlights. Notice when I move it to the left, I can see my projector screen in the background a little bit more. So a little more details I can see. Shadows. When I move it to the right, I can start to see more details on my objects. And I do want that showing. When I move the whites to the left, you can start to see the background a little bit better. And then the blacks maybe just a tad bit to the left. And to check your before and after on the bottom left corner here, click on YY. And notice you can see some basic enhancements. Okay, so that's all I'm going to look for with your editing. So you're going to do that for each photo. And let's say that I like how this one turned out here. So what I'll do, I'll go ahead and copy my enhancements that I created because the next 2 photos are basically the same setup. It's just the aperture is different. So I'm going to check all of this. The ones that I make sure not to have checked off is the local adjustments, transform, crop, and spot removal. Okay, everything else should be just fine. So I'll go ahead and click copy. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold down on Shift and then click on the last of my 3 photos that are the same subject. And I'm going to click on Sync. And I'm going to synchronize. And by doing that, it's going to use these same enhancements that I applied from the first one. And notice it did the same for the second one and for the third one. Okay, so I'll go ahead and keep that. And I'll do the same for my second subject here. I'm going to do a couple of enhancements. I'll check the exposure. Slightly overexposed, so I'll bring it down just a little bit. Add a little bit of contrast. Bring down the highlights. Bring up the shadows, or bring down the shadows. I'll move the whites to the right a little bit. And the blacks just a little bit to the left, just to make it a little more dramatic. So I'll go ahead and work with this one here. Copy it once again. And then hold down on Shift and click on the last one of the 3. And I'll click on Sync to synchronize the edits. And now I can check the second one and my third one. Okay, so that seemed to work out just fine. I'm going to go ahead and keep that. And that's what you want to make sure to do for editing. And if you close this out, everything will be saved automatically.